Hey, I'm Patrick, the founder of Prospect Labs, and we are a LinkedIn lead generation training company and also LinkedIn software. And today's video, I want to show you how to combine LinkedIn and email outreach to do multi-channel campaigns. So in the past couple of years, it's all been about inbound marketing, how to write content, how to rank highly on SEO, how to drive people to your site. Then that transitioned to outbound, things like LinkedIn automation, email automation, even cold calling, physical posts, that sort of thing. As LinkedIn is now transitioning, there needs to be this transition between both sides. How do you do content marketing that gains awareness? And then how do you do outbound campaigns that interact with those people that like your posts? And for this, I call this the bound framework. And this is what we're focusing on at Prospect Labs, of how you combine being an amazing social seller with using the right automation tools to reach out to people. So I hope you enjoy the video. Speak soon.
So this is the start of using Prospect Labs Campaign Builder to build a multi-step campaign. So if you think about traditional outbound messages, these were things like sending a connection request, sending maybe an in-mail campaign, maybe sending a cold email message, and maybe things like cold calling, which is not on the system. But usually an outbound campaign is finding someone's profile, sending a connection request and sending to them. Or might be seeing if they've got an open in-mail account and sending an in-mail campaign, or maybe finding their business email address and sending an email. And then you have the inbound strategy, so things that are interacting with people. So you might visit a profile and then they get a notification. You might follow their profile so that they see you're following but you haven't interacted with them. You might follow their company so that you're interacting with their company and trying to say that you're a follower of them. You might endorse them if you're connected with them, and you might like one of their posts. And so what all of these things do is try and find a way to engage with them without actually reaching out and connecting with them. And so the bound framework, which is what we've created at Prospect Labs, is how do you combine this all together? How do you make sure that you're interacting with people in the right way, but then how do you make sure you're following up with them once you've done those initial buying signals? So this is the approach that I usually do. So step one is I always visit a profile. And when visiting a profile, this means that they've seen that I'm interested in them, but that they haven't connected with me, I haven't messaged them, anything like that. Then I would like a post. And the idea of liking their post is just to say, I'm a fan of what you do, I like your content, but I'm not going to reach out to you yet. And then I add a custom condition, if connected. And the general idea I put in here is to say, before I message them, I need to split this up. If connected was going to go down one way, if not connected, it's going to go down another way. So if I am connected, then it would just go down to a traditional campaign, which is a follow-up message. So if we're already connected, I would then send them a follow-up message to say, hey, thanks for seeing you. I would love to connect, get to know each other, that sort of thing. However, after that, if they don't reply, I would then add an endorsement. And the endorsement would be to add their skills of something like startup or management or something like that. And then the general idea here is you can see the flow is I visit the profile, like their post. If I'm connected, I'll send them a follow-up message to say thanks for connecting. And then if they don't reply, I'll then endorse them. So it's all these touch points to get them sort of on my side. After that, if they don't reply, I'll add a follow-up message. And I usually say follow-up message, I would leave for about 5 days later. So what that means is that there's 5 days of waiting after I've endorsed them just to say, give them a chance to reply. If they don't reply to this, I would then like a post and say, like any of the posts again that contain the word startup and that are maybe popular. And then I would send maybe one final follow-up message again, which is something like 2 weeks later. And this gives a long time chance to understand what's going on. So it'll seem a bit complicated so far, but generally what I've built is to say I'm going to look at the profile, like one of the posts, and then give it a day, and then check if we're connected. If we are, I'll send them a follow-up message saying thanks for connecting, I want to introduce my services, can we have a call? If they don't reply, the next day I'm going to endorse them for something like being good at startups, management, sales, whatever it may be. If they don't reply, 5 days later, I'll send them a follow-up. If they don't reply, 1 day later, I'll then again like one of the posts. And if they still don't reply, 2 weeks later, a final approach to try and chase them up. So that's one flow that you can go down. However, if you go back to here, if we are not connected, I'll then say, let's add a connection request. And the connection request is to say, hey, first name, hope you're well, would love to introduce myself, get to know each other, that sort of thing. And I would leave that for 1 day. And then I would say again, this custom condition to say if connected. And the general idea is I've now sent a connect request and I'm going to wait 3 days to give them a chance to accept. And if they don't accept, I then need to split into two ways. One way is to say, if they are connecting, I'm going to send a follow-up message. And the follow-up message will be this one here, just to say, thanks for connecting, would allow me to introduce myself, a bit way like this campaign goes down the flow. However, the beauty of this, of having multiple campaigns or multiple touch campaigns, is you're constantly trying things. I'm visiting profiles, liking posts, trying to interact with them, but if they don't connect or accept, then it goes down another flow. So this is what I'm going to do here. So if they didn't connect with me, I'm going to try something else, and I'm going to go down to email now. So I'm going to add a custom flow here to say if email exists. Sorry, not clicked, if email exists, this one here. So if the email exists, I'll then say, great, they have an email account. So now I'm going to send them an email. So if the email exists, send them an email. And it shows red here because you just need to put some text. Hi, and you can add the full message. So if we go down this flow, the general flow is they have an email address and I've sent them an email. So like any email campaign, what you need to check is, have they opened it? Because if they haven't opened it, they're going to reply there. However, if they haven't opened it, I would then say, send another email, and I would maybe wait for 5 days on this. So I would wait 5 days here, and I would say after 5 days, then send a final follow-up. So generally with all my flows, what I'm trying to do is have at least 2 or 3 follow-ups. Once I know they've connected, of following up, or if they're not connecting and they have an email address, at least sending 2 emails. Okay, if they don't connect and they don't have an email, we still have one other option, and it's this one here, if open in mail exists. So if it says if open in mail, and what this basically means is if they have an open account, then what I'll do is send an open in mail message. In this way, it's the gold icon you see on a LinkedIn profile. So with that gold icon, it means they have an open account where you don't need to connect with them to be able to message them. And again, I would say hi at the subject there if I wanted. Final thing, and it's important that it goes down this flow, it might still be a case that you try to connect, they didn't accept, tried again, didn't, they don't have an email, they don't have open in mail. The final thing you might want to do is one last try to say, after all this time, which is probably about 10 days, have they now connected? Because if they have connected, you can then go back to this original approach you tried to say, send a follow-up message. So this is the flow that I've built, and this is one of the templates at Prospect Labs. You can easily just copy and integrate and try it out, or we're here to help you do it all together. But the idea of this is to combine inbound marketing of those touch points and signals to get someone to think of you, visiting profiles, liking posts, endorsing people, that sort of thing, and then mixing with the outbound side to do things like connecting, follow-up messages, in-mail campaigns, and email campaigns. And this whole framework here is I call the bound framework, which is comparing inbound and outbound together to make this work.
Thanks for taking time to watch the video today, and a few things for you to remember. When you're doing a mix of LinkedIn and email, the goal is always to find a way to get the person to take awareness of you. So liking their post, following the company, maybe endorsing them. It's all about trying to build a good foundation of how to speak to them. Once you build that sort of multi-channel flow where you're liking a post, following a company, connecting with somebody, it's trying to find different ways to get their attention. Sometimes via LinkedIn connection, sometimes via messaging, sometimes via open in-mail, and sometimes maybe via email. So I hope you get a chance to try these different approaches. If you're interested in using Prospect Labs, just get in touch or go to prospectlabs.co, and we'd love to give you a call and see how we can help you get set up. Take care and keep in touch.